just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative. Regurgitating the same old, every single day without question. Please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hello everyone, it's Friday, current affairs. Say what you need to say. What I say, I'll leave your comments out. If you're agreeing with everything, if you agree with Zelensky, he just knocked the whole of Europe leaders. He called them for everything, and these are the same leaders that have been giving them everything. Billions, not only billions, but also weapons. They've armed Ukraine. But what's happened to the weapons? But remember when they went on the black market? You know, rather than be destroyed by Russia. He called them for everything. He more or less called them cowards. And then I couldn't believe it, you know, listening to his speech. Knocking everybody. And what's it they do? They gave him a standing ovation. I can't believe it. He's calling them for everything. If anyone called me for everything, I wouldn't stand up and give them a standing ovation. Oh, yeah, that was good. Thanks for calling me everything. And Obama, brilliant. Brilliant. You know, he said, see, the thing is as well, he said he deserves a smack, Viktor Orban. You see, what kind of a fucking lunatic is this fella? What kind of a lunatic is he? But Orban came out and said, more or less, I'm just paraphrasing, what comes around goes around, and you'll get what you deserve. And we all know what he's going to end up with, don't we? I don't think it'll be a piano either. Our lovely Myra. Hiya, Myra. Hi, Frank and family. The Ambi. Hi. Hi, Myra. As a notification, wasn't expecting anyone would be here. Oh, thanks very much, Ambi. Oh, not lovely. And Paulie, hi, these are crowd. She's all you, even in legends and chat, even in tea. Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends. Hope everyone as well. Smash the likes on the way in. Thank you. Thank you for that. Big up, Johan. Ambi, evening, Johan. Evening, Johan. From Ambi, TW, and Myra. Good evening, Ambi, Dexter's TW, and our lovely Myra. Yes. Hit the likes and subscribe, says T, for Frank, please. I will be counting on the likes tonight, so no pressure. I've only got one. I can only see one. I had two before, someone must have liked me. But anyway, getting back to business, and can I ask you a question, please? Do you think Trump is a bully or a con man? It's a simple question. It's a yes or no. A con man or a bully. It's as simple as that because he just bullies people. He just bullies people. And, he bullied Europe. He bullied everybody. Europe is so weak. So Zelensky was right in that score. It's the only thing that he's been right about. And then have you ever heard anything like that Finland president or prime minister, whatever he is, whatever title he has? Stubby. Have you ever heard the likes of him? Where's he getting his information from? Let me guess. Do you think it'll be from Kellogg? Because Kellogg came out with something. And even Zelensky said like there was 35,000 a month Russian soldiers being killed. But Kellogg said that. And Stubby, he said the same. 35,000 Russian soldiers. And doesn't anyone look at when they swap the unfortunate dead with each other, they're sending Ukraine single figures, swapping the dead, while Russia is sending 1,000 every time. 1,000 Ukrainians. I've got to read something, and it's great. When Zelensky calls out that Iran, what the fuck has Iran got to do with him? Hey, and China, by the way, and Taiwan. What has it got to do with him? He's a nothing man. He's a nothing man. Yeah, he calls out Iran. He called them out and, wants the USA to go and regime change them. Got to read something. Just let me read this. And it's by one of the ministers of Iran. And he sums it up brilliantly. Just bear with me on this. Hang on, I'll also put my reading glasses on. Don't like wearing these bloody glasses, Hate me, believe it or not. Anyway, this fella, Arakci, whatever his name is, he says Zelensky has been rinsing American and European taxpayers to the pockets of his... Rinsing American and European taxpayers to fill the pockets of his corrupt generals and to confront what he calls an unlawful aggression in violation of the UN Charter. At the same time, he openly and unashamedly calls for unlawful aggression against Iran in violation of the same UN Charter. The world has had enough of confused clowns, Mr. Zelensky. Unlike your foreign-backed mercenary-infested military, we Iranians know how to defend ourselves and have no need to beg foreigners for help. What a reply that is to the lunatic. What a reply to him. And it sums everything up about Zelensky. Because if you think, people really think that it's the Ukrainian soldiers. The Ukrainians got no army. They've all been killed. So who's fighting? As that Iranian minister said, infestation of foreign mercenaries and NATO. I'm still waiting to see what. This is what I can't make out about Putin, to be honest. Really. You know, they tried to. Obviously, it's Trump give the green light for the CIA, obviously, to go after Putin's residence, to kill him. Imagine what would an American president, not talking about this stuff, and the American nation, what would they do if Russia went after the White House, the president of the America, the USA? What would they do? And yet, Putin's done nothing. He hasn't done anything. So I'm still waiting for what he's, for what he's going to do. Because that's the biggest red line in anything. You know, Putin could have easily have had any American, any foreign visitor going to Ukraine, either by air or railroad. Could have just blasted them out the air sky or on the tracks. Because they have the technology, as you know, if these Iskandas, that nosedive right to the place that the pointer target. And they, as I said, they could just shoot down anyone. Yeah, Russia. Don't forget, you know, that say like that mad mate, for example, that lunatic. If he wants to go to Kiev, he has to ask Russia for permission. If Trump wants to go to Kiev, he has to have permission of the Russians. Same as these fellas who's just the three musketeers, Kushner, Wickoff, and Josh. Who's Josh? Yeah, I know that he's a big advisor for the West Bank. The West Bank. And the three of them, when Christ was born, how many kings went? 3 kings, wasn't there? They're like the 3 kings, going back 2,000 years ago. BC. BC. Just Jews, they're everywhere. Oh, fuck. It's just annoying me, it really is. It really is annoying. And who spoke up against Venezuela? Who spoke up? No one. No one. That's sickened me, that. I thought somebody would come out and go, hang on a minute, you can't be doing that. Kidnapping a president of a sovereign country and his wife. And put them in jail, waiting trial. He's a fucking loony. Simple as that. Go along with that. And Lindsay Ellis, even a Frank, how dare that ginger balloon called Trump say that about our armed forces? Trump is a bully and a con man. Both my sons served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Both have problems since. They all have. Our Angela's husband was in the SAS. Some of the things he told me. Kellogg bloody cornflakes. He's a liar. He's a liar. He knows what's going on. He just wants to prolong the war. He knows what's going on. I know he pissed off our armed forces today. Everybody's pissing us off, to be honest. Everybody. They're all having a go. Even our own, let's be honest, Starmer. And he's just cancelled elections, hasn't he? Starmer. He doesn't want that Burnham in, does he? Andy Burnham. Doesn't want him in. The Crown Prince of Iran, who lives in Maryland, Pahlavi, met Mary. Oh, yeah. He's probably leading the race for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2026. I just don't know whether it's corrupt now, the Nobel Peace Prize, or they just get bullied. The states bully everybody. The United States bully everybody. And I want to know, what fucking wars has Trump made peace with? In between, the mediator. He's having a proxy war in Ukraine. It's his war. And he's the mediator. He sent 3 fellas to 3 kings to the Kremlin. And they know that nothing. How many times have they been over there and there's no resolution? There's nothing, absolutely nothing, because they know what Russia wants. So Russia's just going to carry on. They're just going to carry on, taking more and more and more land. And what did Stoops say? They want to take all Ukraine. Is he fucking there? Is he watching anything? Does he listen to anyone? How many times has Putin said we don't want all Ukraine? We only want the Russian-speaking oblasts that the Kiev regiment has been annihilating. No one listens, you see. And it's wrong. It's wrong. No one listens to Putin. But I think Putin should just say, I've had enough of this. I really do. He's getting on my nerves. And I never thought I'd say that. Because there are Russian soldiers being killed. Why doesn't he just say, okay, go ahead, do what you need to do to that, the general of all the army, all the military. Grizimov was go on, you do it. Take the gloves off. And it'll be over. Just take Odessa, that's it. They've already blockaded Odessa. Nothing's coming out of Ukraine. Nothing. And there's today, is it today or yesterday, that a ship, a tanker, Macron's army or whatever they are, the Navy or the Coast Guard, I haven't a clue the fuck they are. Boards a tanker. They said, we got a Russian tanker, but it wasn't waving a Russian flag. And what they said was, it's a Russian tanker with a foreign flag on. something dodgy about that, though, isn't there? You know what he's trying to say, because he's trying to make up for his idiocy. And what you think about the fucking peace thing? Hi, Frank. I see that Channel 4 pulled the plug on the Dispatch's documentary last night about Palestine action. Will be shown at a later date. I don't know. I don't watch anything like that anymore. I used to like it. I used to only watch Channel 4 News. And until I seen Matt Fry right at the beginning, I think within 48 hours of the SMO, and he was in Kiev and he was talking to some Ukrainian fella and a woman, and they were on a balcony, you know, in a building. And the Ukrainian was giving the Russian a load of stick, you know. And then he turns around to this lady. It was a former politician of the Duma. As soon as she said a couple of sentences, you know, about why they went in, Matt Fry just went, that's it. I used to admire Matt Fry. I had a lot of respect for him. But when he just went, no, you're not saying anything, that's it, and closed the interview. And that's when I thought, I'm going to look into this to see more of this. And then I found out that they showed it, like before I went on to Matt Fry, you see these Russians coming in, you know, tanks into this, I don't know where it was, but it was somewhere in the Donbass area. And they had parcels of food. And you see a woman shouting, an old woman, and she's shouting. And they're saying, Matt Fry it was, again doing a voiceover. And he's saying, he said, she's actually telling them to, and this is what he said. He actually said it. Fuck off, we don't want you here. Fuck off, Russians. We don't like you. Well, you know, I thought, well. And then a year later, in 2023, it came out that she was actually shouting, thank God you're here. Save us, thank God. You know, because she was like this. And that was it then. You know, I thought, well, fuck this. So you see how propaganda works and how spin works. Polo. Hi, Frank and friends. Hiya, Polo. Myra. Hi, Polo. Linda says, the world is in a mess. Yes, it is in a mess, Linda. Of course it is. And that's our own fault. And Amber says, Putin is waiting for them to turn on each other. He doesn't need to sacrifice his army. Well, they're turning on each other now. But did you hear what Zelensky said? He was saying that like soldiers are running, Russian soldiers are deserting and running away. Besides 35,000 being killed. And who said that? Kellogg. So they're all repeating what this lunatic is saying. Kellogg. So who is he saying it for, Kellogg? Why is he coming out with all this propaganda? It's the CIA. They're giving them scripts. Kaya Kallas, did you hear about her? And what she's saying? She's setting up a court to try all these Russians for war crimes. Grandson should have been a war criminal as well. In the SS. Fucking hell, you can't make these fucking things up. America can't get out of the stranglehold of the Zionists, says Polo. No. Because Trump, no matter what you call him, a bully or a con man, he is a con man. He's always been a con man. But he's under the thumb of these Zionists, the deep state. It's gone beyond the deep state now. And Lindsay says, my son told me a few things too. Things I fucking heard. And pictures, photographs. Big ones like that. Fucking big things. I said, I don't want to look at them. And that was in the Philippines. I know a good few armed folk, but all furious, the whole of the country is what Trump said. So you might as well say Zelensky as well said it. As well. Maria Machado said that there will be regime change in Cuba by the end of the year. Of course, well, we all expect that. Marco Rubio wants Cuba. He's a fucking liar as well, Rubio. He said that his parents escaped Fidel Castro's regime during the revolution. Fucking didn't. He left a couple of years before, 2 or 3 years before. So he's selling lies. He was found out. But, no one holds him accountable for his lies. Because he's a US politician in the White House. Trump administration. Did you hear what Trump said? He'd make a good president of Cuba, Rubio. Polo, Frank, the true Alexis de Durand says that this is a CIA-led war in Ukraine. It's disgusting. Of course it is. The coup d'etat in 2014 was led by the CIA, MI6, and Victoria Nuland. We all know that. And it's still going on. People think that the CIA are in suits and ties. Well, there's lots of them in suits and ties. Behind monitors and things like that and going out in the streets. But they've got a big army. That's who they're fighting. They've got a big army. How many CIA fellas have been killed? Don't hear about it. How many American mercenaries have been killed? You don't hear about it. The Russians have told them. They've got Americans, And that's why they warned the French and the British. You'll become targets if you step foot in Ukraine. And you know that they've got a right to be there, Russia. Because they're defending the Russian-speaking people who are being annihilated. Annihilated. Johan Tucker interviewed Sergei Karaganov, a Putin advisor, and he said the Russians are very aware this could lead to a full-blown nuclear war, as they already know it's proxy, hence why they are reserved. You see what I mean? I understand that. We don't want a nuclear war. Believe it or not, Liverpool's one of the blackest spots because of all the, our container burnt up in Seaford. And what goes through there? Nuclear waste and whatever it's called. And it's going in there. And we're one of the blackest spots. We have been since the Cold War, by the way. Because all the nuclear arms and whatever the Americans send comes in through there. Matt Fry, Channel 4 are all established stroke state funded like the BBC. Yeah. I only used to watch it. I thought they were all right because they was always telling the truth. Before all this, just gone. Polo. Matt Fry. I followed him for years. I followed him when he was ITV's commentator, reporter in Rome. Used to always follow him because I wanted the Italian news. And it was great. I followed him since then. Then he went to America. I followed him over there for ITV. This time, they're just spitting out propaganda, lies. So most probably he was doing the same all those years ago. Thanks, Polo. Can't stand him. He's a bum, says Linda. Unfortunately, it'll be nuclear. That's what it will be. The IBR. Evening, Kaiser John Franco. Hope you're well, sir. Thank you. Bit depressed. Not just that, says Johan. After the Warsaw Pact dissolved, NATO promised Russia that they wouldn't move an inch eastward, and now they are literally on the port. Of course. And I don't know why Witkoff, this Josh fella and Kushner are there, because this is what Putin's telling every time. It's just a waste of time. And Witkoff always comes out and says, well, we're 90% there. No, you're not. That's just bravado. So people will believe it. And Russia will just carry on until the troops will get into Odessa. Sort out the, I don't say Ukrainians. I'd say I wouldn't even say mercenaries. It's the Yanks. That's who's fighting there. I always remember Scott Ritter saying, any American that's been sheep-dipped, as he called it, putting a Ukrainian uniform on, should be tried for treachery. Because you don't do that. If you're a soldier, if you're a US soldier, and you change your uniform to a foreign army, so you see, that's the way it is. And that's what Scott Ritter said. And how many, in his terminology, have been sheep-dipped. I'm British, by the way. I'm British. Remember that fella? I think he's from Yorkshire somewhere. And he got a fella named Aidan, someone. And I remember this fella interviewing him in a Russian, where they had him. And he was saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come here, I really thought that I was doing right, but I know that I was wrong. He was coming out with all this garbage. So the Russians set him free. They said, go on, fuck off, and don't come back. And he was writing, talking to the British media. I'm going back, after all this. and we've never heard of him since. It's like a fella on Judge Napolitano. Excuse me. It's like a fella on Judge Napolitano. Jack someone. And he was over in and that's what Scott Ritter said he should be tried for treachery again. Because he was a former soldier, American soldier in the armed forces. And he was fighting in the trenches against the Russians. And he used to come on to Judge Napolitano. People used to, the comments, give him some stick. Never see him now. I think he's dead. Him. That's just my opinion anyway. If anyone ever seen him. KPP. Boom, boom, Trump saloon. Yes. And Polo says, yeah, Matt Fry was as good as Italian reporter, 92, 97. I remember him speaking to Roberto Di Baggio, great player, yes. I'm having a football show tomorrow morning. It might come up as a film and TV review, but it's a football show. I'll be talking about a couple of films as well that fucking hilarious. Hilarious that I've watched. And they're supposed to be serious. Honestly. The actors wouldn't. But I'll be talking a couple of films, that's all, but mostly it's football people. And IBR says, it amazes me how easily led the people on the right are backing Trump and can't see that everything Trump is doing benefits the globalists, technocrats. See, that's what I said, is he a bully, the con man? Well, he's both in my opinion. And he conned the people. He conned me. He conned me. When he was on the ticket of peace. I knew that he wouldn't get I think Myra Page said to me over a year ago when he first came in, and, his pledge was to stop the war in 24 hours. I did say to Myra he could, but it won't take 24 hours. And here's what I was thinking when I was saying that to Myra. I was thinking he's just going to say to Zelensky and the whole of Ukraine, no more weapons, no more money. Nothing. You're getting nothing. No more intel, nothing. I'm taking all the intel out. And that would have stopped the war. But it would have taken a couple of weeks. Know what I mean? And Polo, Frank, do you support any Italian teams? Yeah. Inter. I've always supported them. Like, my granddad and that, they supported them, you see. And Napoli. Because, members of the family, like me great uncles, they supported both, believe it or not. And Naples, because that's where they came from. Know what I mean? Napoli. I was on holiday in Sorrento when I went into a bar, and just by the hotel, I always used to go in, and I used to watch a few matches in there as well. And the barman, he owned a bar. He said, I'm going to Napoli on Wednesday. Do you want to come along? And I went, yeah. Went to Napoli. They played Sampdoria. What an atmosphere. Brilliant. Really brilliant. So, yeah, Napoli and Inter, but I've got respect for AC as well, by the way. And I support the Azzurri. I support Italy. Always have done for, since I was a young boy. The Azzurri. Listening in the background says Myra. Oh, well, that's good. As long as you're listening, Myra. As long as you're listening. And talking about Trump, Johan says he had me as well, at least over cackling Kamala. Good job, wasn't it? But his actions since have been absolutely horrific. Not just us, he conned the largest podcaster on earth, Joe Rogan, as well. Yeah. Has he got the largest podcast, Joe? To know that. I like Joe, by the way. I like Joe. Good man. He's a good man. I've seen him in loads of interviews. I've seen him with Douglas. It's a Douglas Murray. Who's that prat? I don't want to get mixed up with the Murray who used to be a diplomat. Is it Douglas? Speaks like that. Hates Russia. Hates Putin. Well, he's like fucking Kellogg, giving it loads. Thanks, Johan. Douglas. And Dave Smith, did you see that? What a brilliant Dave Smith. If there was a guillotine in a studio, the heads must have come up. Brilliant that was. Dave Smith. Cut him to pieces, didn't he? He's good, Dave Smith, though, isn't he, Johan? You've never been where? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. You've never been. You've never been. And do you know what? I seen that Murray. And he said he had press on. And he was being not interviewed, he was doing the commentary, with some fucking outlet. It was ITV or something. And he was saying, yes, he says, I'm here in Gaza. And he says, and that Hamas, and I'm going on about Hamas, killing the IDF. And the next, he wasn't there. He was in, where was he? He was in Israel. But in like a location where there's a fucking hill. And he's there, and he was telling fucking lies where he was actually situated. That he was in Gaza, in the war zone, and how brave the IDF is. And he wasn't. He was well away from it. Like the generals, in the First World War, when they used to come up to the troops on horses. I've got pictures of them here, mate. Honestly. Generals, colonels. You've never been. That was brilliant, wasn't it? Because as he said, you've never been, to Gaza. He said, I don't need to go to Gaza. I can see it every day. I can see the footage. Doesn't have to be That's when that all came out, by the way. He was saying that he was in the war zone. And it all came out that he fucking wasn't. He was by some hill in the outback of Israel. See how phonies they are. And Paulie says, sorry, ambidextrous and Myra went away to make lemsips for my better half. By where have you been? I hope she gets better. We don't like to see anyone sick. Hope she feels better soon, says Ambi. Thanks, Ambi, says Paul. We're great, aren't we? And Johan says he met Milikovsky on the trip as well, and Bibi gave him a permanent press pass to the IDF. Do you know who was in the IDF? And on actual active duty in the Lebanon. Active duty. Think about active duty. Right? Gun. Pulling the trigger. In the Lebanon. Gal Gadot. Greenstein. Gal Greenstein. Who's that? Gal Gadot was, you see it on Facebook, and she's just being promoted all the time. Promoted Wonder Woman. Active duty. IDF. She couldn't act a ghost either. It's terrible. And Glenn says, Douglas Murray is a brilliant orator and talks fact. What fucking fact does he talk? By L saying that he's in Gaza. Gal Greenstein. That's it, yeah. IDF, active duty in the Lebanon. Fact. So come on, Glenn, what does Douglas Murray, a brilliant orator, and talks fact? What fact? What fact does he talk? That there's no kids starving in Gaza, in the West Bank. That the IDF are not bombing and killing and shelling people, unarmed people. Is that fact? Glenn. That's what I've heard him say. That's what we've all heard him say. Douglas Murray. Even Piers Morgan, who supports them all, he fucking said, he told him off. He said, you can't say that. Piers Morgan. All fucking one's in. And the IBR, Israel have their red heifer ready, so dark times ahead. Yeah, but so was Iran. Iran could annihilate and blow up the whole of Israel. They've got the weapons. And I know that all these, the usual warships and aircraft carriers are going towards Iran. And what's Softlad's excuse? Oil. The oil's not going to get out to the West if they stop it, Iran. The Straits. So you see, that's his excuse. See what I mean? That's his excuse. So Iran's got to be stopped. Regime changes. That's all he goes on about, regime changes. And that's the CIA for you. Listen, I said years ago that America wants to police the world. Just in conversation with a few friends, I said, "Do you just want to police the world?" They want to police the world. America does. And this is what's happening now. They tried to poke the bear, which they did. They never tried. They were poking the bear by ignoring what Putin was saying. Will you stop? He was asking the West to stop Kiev from shelling and killing people. He said it's genocide, what they're doing. And this is in 2014, right up to December 2021. He was asking, are you going to do? He said, I'll have to go in. That's why they thought that, let them in. This is the Americans, let them in. Ukraine will take them. Big mistake. Big mistake. Ukraine has got no army now. So you've got to ask, who are they fighting then? Well, as Scott Ritter said, these sheep tips from every nation. Like as that Iranian minister said, infested with foreign mercenaries. And we're there, the British are there. Everyone's there. Poles. I remember Russia saying, we've killed 10,000 Poles. Who's taken the bodies? Because the Poles, they said, oh no, we can't take them, because the population will go mad. They'll turn against us. So where are they? I think they're just buried. The Russians just buried them. Polo, Gal Gadot, another Zionist that infiltrated Hollywood along with Adam Sandler, Timothy Chalamet. Who's he? Never heard of him. They're all there. Hollywood is full of them. Full of them. You've only got to look at the producers. But at least the likes of Mark Wahlberg, that Roseanne, and Mel Gibson have broken away. And at least Mark Ruffalo, he's spoken out against what they're doing. He's spoken out against what they're doing in Gaza. Hello, Frank, how are you? Hope you're doing. I hope you're okay. Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks, Steve. Tell us, Cowboys. I'm only having a go at your White House politicians and the foreign policy. Their foreign policy, that's all. No ordinary Americans. Okay. Big up the legend. Chat says the fella with the most exotic name on the planet, Cedric Lopez. Great name. Cedric Lopez. So anyway, but you've got to laugh, haven't you? You've got to laugh at what's going on. But I laugh at the Europeans. Von der Leyen. And says, say, look, here's how it works. We've got presidents and, around Europe and prime ministers. Right? So they're looking after us. Right? They're supposed to be looking after us. But you've got someone higher because the WEF throw in the EU, European. European Union. Who are they? Who is von der Leyen? So the WEF put her as the leader. And she appoints lunatics like Kaya Kallas. And they rule our prime ministers and our presidents. But who rules them? Well, it's Donald Trump in America. So America, the likes of us, we're ruled by three entities. The likes of Parliament here, the likes of Brussels, the EU in Brussels, and the Washington. That's who they rule. And the presidents have said this a few times. The presidents of the United States, I always remember a few years ago, long before this SMO and poking the bear. And I always remember this fella, forget his name. He said, when you look at the politics down to the American president, he said it's a pyramid. He said it's a pyramid. And on top of that pyramid, you go down another level. And down another, bump, 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 each level until you get to the president, who's the seventh in that pyramid, seventh. So all the orders and everything is coming from the top of the pyramid, and it filters down to the president, who has to follow the top, what's being said at the top of the pyramid. So Trump is a puppet. And they're made up with him because he's a bully. And have you just heard what he's come out with and said? Now, this is against the American Constitution to have a fourth term. The only time that there ever was a fourth term was in the Second World War with Roosevelt. He was a warmonger, because the Japanese, he knew about the Japanese going over to Pearl Harbor. And my Auntie Leah, she was engaged to an Italian American, because our family is Italian. And he was a sailor in the US Navy. And he said to, my grandparents, because she was me auntie, passed on. And he said, can I marry you? He said, yeah, they were made up. He said, when I come back here, because they were bringing over supplies. He said, when I come back, he said, I'll get permission to take Rosalina over to America. And he said, okay, she'll be safe there, he said. Yep, okay. And he was killed at Pearl Harbor. So there's people like that were killed because of Roosevelt. Because he knew that there was an attack going to happen at Pearl Harbor, and he'd done nothing about it. Because he wanted to join the war. And it happens today, what I've just said about other people. Did you notice that, has anyone seen, by the way, footage of people in Ukraine being dragged off the streets and into vans and forced to go to the front line? Has anybody seen that? If you haven't seen it, I'll show you this on my telly. I've got footage of it. And someone put on, that's false, that's fake news, that's Russia. You see? And people, but he got some stick with it saying, the name Hollywood should give you a clue as to who runs the film industry. Yes. Yes, IBR. I know who runs the film industry. Frank, Putin is very diplomatic. Medvedev would actually use more initially. No, you're right, Polo. That's what I'd do to Kiev. I really would. You know, they've gone after them. And I know that Putin, you know, as I said before, Polo, he could have had every European leader who flew in or got the train to Ukraine. Could have had them. Even Americans could have had that Blinken, because he flew in, didn't he? Could have had soft lads, Joe. Could have had him because he flew in. Could have had any of them. The Russians. And don't forget that they have to ask all the time to Russia, listen, we're flying in, is it okay? Because they don't want to be shot down by a ballistic missile, an Iskander or something. Polo, if Medvedev, I'm telling you now, if he was president of the Russian Federation, the whole of Ukraine would be flattened now. And Odessa would be back in the Russian Federation. Good evening from Thailand, says Glenn. Hello, Glenn. Still haven't said about Douglas Murray and his fact. I want to know your fact, what you said before. But I'm glad you're in Thailand, Glenn. I hope you're enjoying yourself, unless you live there, Glenn. I don't know, you see. Steve, I mean, every country have dumped people, so nobody expected a change when the crazy people here choose Trump. Everybody knows what will happen down, and it is happening now. That's what I mean, Steve. You know, no one is against, like, you know, people in ordinary people in America, because he cons everybody. He cons me. He cons Johan. He cons us all, because we really thought that he was going to peace. Now he's going to talk about, am I right? He's going to talk about this. And that's all distraction from the Epstein files. But, you know, to have everything on Trump, and I mean everything, I can't understand. You know, he came out with the slogans, didn't he? MAGA, make America great again. And people, oh yeah, let's make America great again. Fuck everyone else, you know. Let's not get involved in wars like we have been for hundreds of years. And it is hundreds of years since 1776, believe it or not. Every war that's gone on around the world, every war, America hasn't been involved in only 6 of them. Incredible, isn't it? But anyway, no one's, it's just the foreign policies and that Monroe Doctrine, where the Monroe Doctrine said the Western Hemisphere belongs to them, and that includes Latin America. And it's all happening now, isn't it? You know, under threat is Cuba, Mexico, Colombia. They've taken Venezuela, but they haven't really. That's failed because the Chavez people are in it, and they were trying to get rid of Chavez for years. Then Maduro came in, and look what has happened to him. And I tell you what, I think I've been watching your system, your American system, law, the judicial system, and it's absolutely disgusting. It's horrible. And America, to me, is like a police state. I've watched it every time. I'm watching it before. What cops do, baldy cops, big fellas who eat big hamburgers that big. What they do to ordinary motorists. So you see, it's everything, unfortunately, Steve. It's everything wrong with American politics. Everything. And he believed in Trump. They thought that he was going to do well. I did. Everyone did. Stop going to wars. Let's make America great again. Let's trade with everyone. He's trying to cause a war with China. But Xi Jinping just fucked him up, didn't he? When he threatened him a couple of, about 6 weeks ago. You don't threaten nuclear powers. It's all right picking on the likes of Venezuela and fucking Cuba. You do realise, Frank, that many people in America that globally support President Trump and also in Venezuela. They've turned against him, Glenn. I don't know whether you've heard the news, because he's backing down from Greenland. What the fuck does he want with Greenland? What was he saying? Russia and China, they're going up to that Greenland. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's just scientists up there, like they've been for decades about the North Pole and the South Pole, by the way. The Arctic and the Antarctic. Scientists. He makes excuses, but he's backing down. He's backing down because he's looking at midterms, and the polls have just gone, and he won't have a leg to stand on in midterms because he's going to be heavily defeated. So he's got to change tactic now. You see, Glenn, and take no notice of that Douglas Murray fella. Honestly, don't. He's a charlatan. And he's not really a press fella either, a journalist. IBR, what's your opinion on the Black Pope conspiracy? Look, do you know what? I won't do it now. They haven't got time. I won't do it now, but I'll do it next week. There's a couple of conspiracies, really, what I want to do. I want to do the conspiracy on Trump and is it the assassination on him or attempted assassination. I want to do that. So there's a few conspiracies that I want to do. You know, the likes of someone asked me to do the JFK, but it's been overdone. It's been done. And it's like Mary Jo Kopechne that time with Edward Kennedy at Chappaquiddick when the car went into the thing, going across him. And they destroyed him politically. And that girl died. And they just blame, he was carrying on with her, he killed her, and, so all the bad press. And because they didn't want another Kennedy. They already assassinated JFK. They assassinated Robert, and they destroyed him because they knew that if he was a stud, he'd have become president. Because the Kennedys had a dynasty, and everybody loved them. All the Americans loved them. But the globalists didn't. Yes, they were globalists back then. They were the deep state back then. You just make enemies. That's why the Cold War was going on with JFK. And all of a sudden, with the Cuban Missile and Khrushchev and Kennedy talking, they said, yeah, okay. And he invited them over, didn't he? He invited Khrushchev over to America, and he went over. You've got to look at the enemies of America. You've got to look at who's the enemy. Russia. It was the Soviet Union at the beginning. Now it's Russia. Russia's got nothing to do with communism or whatever. Anyway, Russia. China has always been an enemy to them. So you have these people, and also Iran, because one of the biggest puppets for America was the Shah of Persia. Now you've got his son in America, obviously, and that Machado. Now, who was Machado groomed by? She was groomed by the CIA, and believe it or not, have a guess, Mossad. And what religion is she? And what religion is Mili, whatever his fucking name is. So this is what you've got to look at. The American enemies. And China is one. But they're a nuclear power. And that's why they're always poking, just like they poked the bear over Ukraine. As Johan said, they promised that they wouldn't move an inch. You want to look at where all the NATO is. NATO. I put it this way, if you had the worst person living next to you on the planet and you were terrified to move out of your own home, and all of a sudden you went, I've got a new home, and you moved, and for that week you were free, and you were going down the shop, you were so happy, you were saying hello to everyone. Then all of a sudden, a week fucking later, who comes and lives next door to you is that same neighbour. What are you going to do? And that's just like NATO and Russia and Ukraine. Look at all the American bases. Look at them all. Now, wherever they are throughout the world, that country has to pay for them. Now, so why doesn't Europe go like that? Okay, tell you what. Fuck off. We don't want you here. The money they'd save. And Europe can actually trades with each other. But they made one glaring mistake. And it wasn't like, any European leader, and I'm talking about of their countries, it was the EU. And they allowed, especially Germany, they allowed America to do what? Blow up an energy thing, the Nord Stream 2. And Joe Biden admitted it. He blew it up. Stopped all the energy. Then von der Leyen said by 2027, there'll be no energy whatsoever coming from Russia. That's why America have got the leverage on them. Because I remember when she said that, they're stopping all Russian energy, blinking after the Nord Stream thing blew up. Right after it, Blinken said, we can make money now with our energy, giving it to Europe. Blinken said that. Tony Blinken in the White House. And what did Sikorsky say, the Polish minister? Soon it was happened. Thank you, America, he tweeted it. Thank you, America. Thank you, USA. So they fucked themselves up, Europe, because the leverage that they've got on them, the Americans, all right, yeah, we'll just pull away the liquid gas. And there's a no win-win situation. And as Lindsay said, the world's in a mess. And why is it in a mess? It all stems from American foreign policies. They wanted to destroy, you're going back to the 90s here, 1990s. They wanted to destroy 7 countries, including one in Africa and the Middle East. And they have destroyed them because what they said, they'll have an influx of war-torn migrants going into Europe. And look what happened. All the migrants came into Europe because they destabilized the Middle East to destabilize Europe, and they've succeeded. That's American foreign policy for you. Everything is America. The ambit to IBR, the holly tree is in the realm of witches who revered the tree in their doings. Yes, I've seen the women being dragged off to war in Kiev. Yep. You wouldn't believe it, would you? Sorry, I've got this fucking itchy nose again. Sorry about this, people. Just itchy. Just got it right there. It doesn't have to itch. Falling to pieces. Want to say to Franco and all you lovely chatters, says the lovely Bella. Hiya, Bella. Johan. They use pregnant women in the army as a positive PR piece. They are deluded. Exactly. Yes, seen one being, yes, I'm pregnant. In a full uniform with a fucking big gun. What the fuck's that all about? If you've got a uniform on, no matter who you are, you're a target. Whether you're male or female. Whether you're pregnant or not. It's just like, there's women there in the army in Russia, they're on the front line. And if they're pregnant, they're an air target. So, but you're right, Johan. It is a big PR stunt. And PR says to the Ambi, remember when the Queen died, as the last object placed on a coffin was a Hollywood wand. It's all Jewish, It is. Have you noticed, you said about the Black Pope. Have you noticed who's the Pope today? What nationality he is? I'm an RC, and I didn't want that. I said, no, that's wrong. That's fucking corruption. That. And I've been many times to the Vatican. Many times. Then I've always visited Rome. Will I go again? Not with that. That was corruption. That was to get an American in. An American Pope. Steve to Glyn, because Trump is the reflection of them and what most people will do if they had any power in anything. Sad, but that is the reality, and Trump is more dangerous than these people think. Thank you. And that comes from an American, Glyn. And actually say, give peace a chance. I'm quoting John Lennon. My mum's a Scouser. Love you, Frank. I'm sure you do a good bolognese. The best bolognese in the world, I think. The best bolognese in the world. Everybody loves it. But unfortunately, I'm the only one who's eating it at the moment. I love a Scouse. All right, you Collie. Isn't that lovely? And Collie comes from the same area as well, the same neighbourhood as me, growing up. Trump is an absolute lunatic. God help us with people like him in power. Absolutely, Collie. Absolutely, sweetheart. You're right, Frank. Members of would flatten Kiev like they did to Chechnya. Look at the photos of Grozny, 1997. Yep. He said, didn't he? He said, he actually said, I'll flatten it. It'll be no more. But Trump, Putin's doing the right thing by blockading Odessa. Nothing can get in and out. Nothing. And what these three fellas have done, Kushner, Witkoff, and Josh. Excuse me. They've gone over to plead. And he says, listen, I tell you what, if Ukraine doesn't bomb target your oil facilities, will you stop doing the infrastructure, their energy facilities? And they said no. Because they hardly touch it, really. And they still won't do what? Every time they're having a fucking meeting, Russia's not involved. Have you noticed that? Look at what happened to Greenland. The Europeans, the EU, those fucking arseholes, they were all having a meeting about Greenland. Who wasn't invited? Any of the Greenlandians or Denmark, who owns fucking Greenland. They weren't invited along. And that Rutte, that failed politician, biggest arsehole and licker of Donald Trump, said, "Oh, we'll give you the part of Greenland." What fucking right did he have to say that? Who is he? He's a failed politician who's head of NATO. It's so fucking annoying. A fucking arsehole like him giving away a sovereign fucking country, a part of a sovereign country. Fucking shocking. An ambush to the IB. I did not know that. Wow. That's putting on that thing, yeah, on the Queen's coffin. And Collie say, "I feel sorry for our grandkids." You're not kidding, Collie. You're not kidding, sweetheart. It's horrible what's happening. Thing is, don't blame Russia, you know, Collie. Please don't blame them. They've been had by America and Europe. They've been had by them for years. We've always hated Russia. This country's always hated Russia. Historically, so is America. So is Poland. So is Germany. So is everywhere. All the Balkan states hated Russia. The French were with us in Crimea, fighting alongside the British, the Russians. And that was in 1854. Fucking goes back further still. They've always hated Russia for some fucking reason. Funny thing is, the Monroe Doctrine says, was established to stop European colonialism in America. Now he's using the John Roe. Yeah, the John Roe. That's what he's called himself, hasn't it? The John Roe Doctrine for American neo-colonialism. Yeah. And it's all these neocons. That's who it is. He's trying to build an empire, but it's not going to fucking work. Now you've got BRICS. You'll have European countries joining them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary will just say, "And that's enough of you, join BRICS." What are they going to do then? Yeah, Lenin and Trotsky were both in America until they were ordered back, yeah. Yeah. Watch Lenin, says Paulie. Well, that's why, Paulie, to be honest, that's why he was gone. Unfortunately, John. Nixon hated him. And that's why Nixon, a conspiracy there. I'll talk about those conspiracies. Give me till next week, because I'll open it up. I'll open it up with the conspiracies about Nixon, the Black Pope, Operation Paperclip, all these conspiracies. An Operation Paperclip that happens after the Second World War is happening today. That's why everything is happening today. And you've got Balfour, 1945, 46, who's given a little piece of land, so that they could look at what's going on in the Middle East. And they gave it to them in 1948. Between 47 and 48, when they started to move in that little tiny piece of land. And look what it's gone to today. Have a guess where Balfour came from? He's a Scouser. He came from Liverpool. I can't believe it. And have a guess who split the atom? Wasn't Oppenheimer. It was a fella from Liverpool University, physicist, named Sir James Chadwick. So we built the very first weapon of mass destruction of Scousers. Get everywhere. On that link, amazing. What's that old Lennon thing? The EU should become allied with Russia. I agree with you there, Freedom. But I said they burnt the fucking bridges. They burnt the bridges. See, Europe fucked the EU off. Von der Leyen, they're the WEF. So they'll never become parley with Russia. Get them fucking rid of them. And you might have some traction. Because the likes of Fico, Viktor Orban, the Czech Republican lads, and Erdic, from Serbia, they join BRICS. They've got all the traction to be pro-Russian. I mean, trades. I don't mean go to fucking war with them or them go to war with us. But you've got to get rid of the likes of von der Leyen and those cronies that the WF put in their power. No one, unelected bureaucrats, that's all they are. Yet they tell everyone, all the prime ministers, presidents, whatever, what to fucking do. What was she asking for money to be given to Ukraine? It's the most corrupt country on the fucking planet. Look at Zelensky. Look at the homes he's got. Just look at the homes he's got. Through all that money he's had. Skimming it off. Look at all the weapons he's had that has been destroyed by Russia. All the best weapons. They were talking about the Tomahawk, and Trump said, no, you're not having that. Well, that was a ploy, wasn't it? So that they could send in drones to try and kill Putin. He said, well, they haven't got them, but they were all shot down anyway. And this is what I mean. I don't think that it's over trying to kill him. Telling you now. And the Russophobia is now biting them in the back. Trump was smart, horrible, but smart, and saying, look at your own reports that say Russia and China are a threat to Greenland. It's great. Anyway, you're right there, Johan. You're right, mate. And Stevie says using women in the army is a crazy thing to do, let alone pregnant ones. But it says, excuse me, it is though. It's a big PR thing. You know, they must think that people will go, "Oh, look, pregnant women." They'd be saying, "What the fuck are they doing there? A pregnant woman? Why is they sending a pregnant woman?" Rutter calls him daddy. Daddy wants, daddy gets. Yep, you're right, Johan. Do you remember that? Excuse me. Fucking freezing in here, you know. Should wear my gloves. But I won't be able to do this. Wearing gloves, pressing little buttons. And the Atchie Southampton is the home of the Spitfire. Liverpool might have split the atom. Oh my God, perhaps we should team up. But had loads of Liverpool players go through the old L. Yes. Well, that's nice. The home of the Spitfire. And split the atom. But you couldn't carry the atom bomb on a little Spitfire. Too heavy. Anyway, so what you've got, I'll do them conspiracy theories next. I'm sorry about this. Next week. Jesus Christ, I could do with a cheese grater across my nose, across there. It's terrible. It really is. It's terrible. One of them itches that make your eyes water. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. So we'll do them next, especially Operation Paperclip, because Operation Paperclip is what's happening today. If you don't know about it, I'll tell you all next week. Johan knows about it. But don't say nothing, Johan. Most probably a couple of others as well know about Operation Paperclip. But everything that you see with this operation after the Second World War is happening today. See, things go on for centuries. And it all comes... Look, seeds are sown years before a war or anything, a development of something, years before. The seeds are always sown, no matter what it is. No matter what it is, the seeds are sown. The seeds were sown after the 1840, excuse me, the 1870, the 1871 Franco-Prussian War. The seeds were sown then for the First World War. So you see, it's years before. Everything is sown. Seeds. Yeah, well, guess why Netanyahu wasn't in Davos, Switzerland, said they would arrest him on war crimes. Yep. So a member of the Board of Peace cannot travel to an historical neutral country for war crimes. Do you know who gets the money, don't you? That $1 billion, if you want to join. And it's Trump. Trump gets it. The peace ball. And if you notice the logo, it's American. It's an American logo. For the peace ball. You can't make it up. You really can't make it up. But Netanyahu, does anyone think, a yes or no, that's all? Does anybody think that he will stand trial, that he will be arrested and stand trial for war crimes? Actually says Operation Paperclip, Frank. Actually knows, think NASA, I'm sure you know. Yes, that's only a part of it. Daddy. It's all American, yeah, it says. No, it says that's about, do you think he'll stand trial? Paulie says no, Archie says no. Johan says no. The IBR says no chance. Okay, so what do you think? If he's never brought up for war crimes and it just lets go because he has committed war crimes, what do you think of the state of the world is if he's allowed to get away with that? No responsibility whatsoever. And the thing is, for children, hey, the deaths of thousands and thousands of children. Think about it. I remember I had footage, and I couldn't find it, of a little girl, beautiful little girl, about 3 or 4 years of age, wandering aimlessly up a road in Gaza. Beautiful little thing. And, like covered, in dust and, white, if you know what I mean. Walking up. And she had this frozen dress on. Only a little thing, little lovely little girl. And she had this princess dress on from Frozen, that Frozen thing. And I was watching the George Galloway show. And I asked at the time, because I mentioned it at the time, then a while later, on the day, a few weeks later, a couple of months later, whatever it was, I said on the George Galloway show, I said, has anybody, this is after the first comments I made a couple of months before, I said, has anybody heard about that little princess? Is there any news on her? This beautiful little child. And George Galloway answered it. He said, and he said, she's dead. I fucking broke my heart, though. Kill me, though. And then I put up a post a while back about a little girl accepting, I think you've seen it, accepting a lollipop. And her eyes fills up. A beautiful little child. And I said at the time, this is the first time that someone has showed kindness to her somebody, a stranger. That child's dead. And one of my friends said that it was Hamas propaganda. I couldn't believe it. That child's dead. Hamas propaganda. I should say ex-friend. Known him for fucking years. I don't think he will be arrested, but he will be taken down by his people. Then what will happen, though? I know Zelensky's family, most of them are in Israel. They should be fucking taken out and put on. Got to get off now. Thanks, everyone. Oh, see you, Ambi. Take care now, sweetheart. Okay. Johan, as Carney, the banker, now prime. Yeah, the banker. He was our Bank of England. Short of our Bank of England's house. Chairman of the Bank of England. Fucking hell. Now he's the, said, we knew the rules-based order didn't align rhetoric with reality, but we accepted it. They admit they had turned a blind eye. Yeah, he fucking blew them up, didn't he? That's why Trump's gone mad. Gone mad. Are they on the peace table? He said, didn't he? I think he said, you're not coming out. We're not allowing Canada in the peace table. That's bullying. Because he spoke the truth. Have to go hit the water bottle time. Good night and thanks for the education. Always great, this channel. Paulie, thank you. I'm going myself now because I'm in pain. The old pain's come back here. Right here. Right across my left arm. Right there. Right there. Okay, now. I get it from there to the elbow. Now it's travelled down to my forearm here. So don't forget tomorrow morning, 10:30. I've got that watch along tomorrow afternoon. Fucking hell. Got the watch along tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you know the score, don't you? Look at this. Fucking everywhere. This. Where is it? See that? Anyway. So, she's all you. See you, Frank. See you in the morning. Cheers, say. Love you, Frank. Says the Yatsy. So enjoy the rest of the night. I'm gonna have I've got to have something. I never come on the thing without. I can't have anything to eat when I do a podcast. You know that because I fall asleep. It's one of my conditions. So no, I was talking to Anthony, my mate. You know, the other night, was it the other night or the day? I don't know, quite so sure. No, it was in the day, talking to him. And the next, I was asleep. And I heard him going, are you there? Frank, are you there? Have you gone? It's me, I've gone asleep. like that. That's with something to eat. The IBR. Another banger, Kaiser. Don't break up, Kaiser. So I'll do those conspiracy theories next week. See, normally, as you know, lately I've been taking these painkillers, very strong things. And when I went to the doctors a couple of weeks ago, she said, don't take that. Take these instead, these little fucking things. But I think they've got a side effect on me. And it's horrible. So I've got to go again to the doctors. I'm fucking never out of there. I've got to go and see a spinal specialist next Wednesday. But I've got to go to the doctors about side effects. So really, I'm not getting rid of the pain, if you know what I mean, because I'm not supposed to take these painkillers. Well, it's a terrible fucking state, honest. It's the way it is. Thank you, Frank and Legends. Have a great night, everyone. Take care, Legends. Good luck versus Bournemouth tomorrow. Your manager was better than our manager, and you sacked your manager. Don't worry about the other fucking night, though. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Pain relievers. You can't call them painkillers. It's like those. Where are we? Like those. Changing the terminology. We just call them UFOs, but now it's UAPs. Well, I've got a fella coming in to talk about them. I wonder if it's next week. I've got a paranormal fella lined up. And one of these fellas. I'll have to hold you the horses for that. Could be next Friday, I don't know. Sorry. I wanted to do those. Oh, fuck. I don't know. I'm awfully sorry, people. I don't know what I'll be doing next week. As I said, I just jumped in. I said, I'll do them conspiracy theories. I got a cracking thing, years ago. Absolutely brilliant, this. Look at the thickness of it. Used to read that. It was my Bible. So we'll do me reading, Used to go to the library to do me reading. I can't be going now anymore, unfortunately. But anyway, people, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And I'll see some of you tomorrow. Thank you. Mille grazie. Ciao.